I'm Carol Ann Ford. I played Susan in Doctor Who. And I've been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast, and it's absolutely amazing. So, goodbye everybody, and it's been fun talking to you.
The tangents at Squee continue all the way to episode 136. Time doesn't pass. Time is an illusion, and life is the magician. Because life only lets you see one day at a time. You remember being alive yesterday. You hope you're going to be alive tomorrow. So it feels like you're traveling one to the other. But nobody's moving anywhere. Movies don't really move. They're just pictures. Just lots and lots of pictures. All of them still. None of them are moving, just frozen moments. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going to the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere. This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Chrissy had to step away momentarily, but she should be back. And then Mitch is, I'm assuming, at dinner. So we've gotten in the habit of recording on Mother Family. So hopefully she shall be joining us later when she gets free. But we've got a lot to talk about. So we are going to jump straight into it first with some convention news and GenCon, which is so far away, yet at the same time, barely, very close. They announced that they are doubling the amount of space that they're using at Lucas Oil Stadium. So if you remember my recap of GenCon last year, they had expanded into kind of the basement area of Lucas Oil Stadium, and that's where they put like all the cosplay and the true dungeon. But they are literally going out onto the football field this year.
Wow.
So they are using the entire football field as exhibition and event space. Including a portion that will commemorate the very first GenCon, because this year is the 50th anniversary. So they will have gaming artifacts and tributes to early GenCon events, including apparently a homage. These are the words: homage construction of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin's horticultural hall, where they first took place. So. Yeah. So they're using 2 exhibit halls and the entire level that the football field is on. That's on top of them using all of the Indianapolis Convention Center, which they've always done, and several of the hotels that are nearby. Just thinking about it kind of makes my feet hurt. Like, I'm gonna have to start training like I'm training for a marathon for GenCon.
Comfy shoes.
So,
Maybe some Converses.
Yeah. No. I'm tired enough as it is from the convention that's happened this weekend, but we'll get to that. Just the thought of GenCon, I'm like, oh, that's exhausting. But hey, why not? I haven't been on the field at Lucas Oil yet, so sure. I was on the field several times of the old football stadium for marching band, so the novelty of being on a football field is not that exciting for me, but it'll be interesting. So. But yeah. It's a 50th anniversary GenCon, so, go big or go home, I guess. So, but we'll see if it becomes a permanent thing or if it's just going to be a one-time thing because it happens to be the 50th anniversary. So. That is all for convention news, actually, at the moment. We got some casting news. So over in the Marvel Universe, all signs are pointing to Josh Brolin will be playing Cable in Deadpool 2. So apparently their first choice, the P's and Q's and I's and T's did not get all dotted and crossed and all that fun stuff. So apparently it's going to be Josh Brolin, which some people are like, well, he's already in Marvel. That's true. He's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's playing Thanos. But Deadpool is part of the Fox X-Men Marvel universe. So unless those eventually cross over at some point, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So it's strange.
It's not like it's the first time.
Yeah.
That Marvel, the actors have been in the Marvel MCU and other versions of Marvel. I don't know how to say those other ones.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, hello.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
So, not a big deal, but it should be interesting. It should be interesting, assuming this all comes to pass. So, the story seemed to be fairly reputable across the board that is who's going to be playing Cable. So, which is good. That means now they can start filming it. Get on it. I'm ready for Deadpool 2. Excited. And then in other casting news, I'm still not sure how I feel about this. But we have our young Dumbledore for the Fantastic Beasts films, sequels, whatever you want to call them. So young Dumbledore is going to be played by Jude Law. Insert feeling here.
I like Jude Law. I don't see him as Dumbledore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
you kind of have to wrap your mind around the fact that this is young Dumbledore. We think Dumbledore. And we think old man, long white beard, half moon spectacles. You know. This is young Dumbledore. So there's kind of a mental block there just because we don't really have any frame of reference on what young Dumbledore is supposed to look like. I did see someone photoshopped Jude Law's face into an image of Dumbledore, but it was like older Dumbledore with the beard and everything. So I'm like, I kind of see it, so.
I think I saw someone comparing pictures and between Jude Law and young Michael Gambon, and
there was an image going around of that was supposedly young Michael Gambon and Jude Law, and everyone was like, "Yeah, no, that's not Michael Gambon. It's actually someone else."
I don't know. I saw a picture. I didn't even really look.
Yeah. So I mean, the youngest we've seen Dumbledore is in, Tom Riddle's Memories. So, but that's more middle-aged Dumbledore, I think. So, but it is what it is. So that's who they've hired, and they're supposedly they're gonna start filming later this summer. So we shall see.
We'll find out.
Yeah. So.
Like I said, I don't hate it. I don't.
It's just one of those.
I don't know.
I'll wait and see.
I can't picture him at the moment, but it could change. I could absolutely love him as Dumbledore, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I can see. A good Watson. He did. I love him in the.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Against playing against Robert Downey Jr.
All right, big chunk of news here is while other other events were happening like Indiana Comic Con and Easter celebrations for those that celebrate and all that. there was what I'm lovingly calling Star Wars fandom Christmas. AKA Star Wars Celebration was happening down in Florida. As Disney / Star Wars want to do, they pelt us with all sorts of news and trailers and images and all sorts of fun stuff. So some of the notable things to come out of Star Wars Celebration, though. We got a first look at the Star Wars Battlefront 2 video game, which I know a few people that play the first Battlefront, so I guess I don't know if they're excited about this or not. I haven't heard one way or the other. But it's the sequel to the first video game, obviously. The description is live the untold Star Wars story of Iden, I think that's how it's pronounced, an elite stormtrooper in an original single-player story. Battle on land and in space, an expanded multiplayer experience with iconic heroes and villains, thrilling space battles, and a deep progression and customization system. That gets released November 17th for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Also announced, Star Wars Rebels is going to end after Season 4. So if you've been watching Star Wars Rebels, the Season 4 is going to be it. It's going to be the final season. So they showed a trailer for the upcoming season, and they also announced that Warwick Davis is going to be joining the cast. So, and he's going to be portraying
the Norgi character Rook from the Heir to the Empire trilogy. I have read the
Glad
novels.
you know how to pronounce that.
They are awesome. And Rook was kind of Grand Admiral Thrawn's kind of right-hand servant. Let's just say there's a little twisty-turny, and he winds up helping Princess Leia and company.
Alrighty then.
Yep. Not too spoilery, but those Heir to the Empire trilogy is worth the read. And I know Timothy Zahn's Thrawn novel came out just this past week. I have it on my to-be-read pile, so it's just interesting because he created an interesting character with Thrawn.
Apparently Thrawn is very popular, so quite a popular character, so people are very excited that he's canon now.
Yes.
So, because as we know, the cartoons are canon as far as we're concerned. So these characters being brought in, it makes them canon as far as, I guess, the Disney cinematic Star Wars universe.
Right. Yeah. We can save the discussion for the expanded universe, what is now canon and what is now considered alternate history for another.
Yeah. Well, the official
conversation.
Yeah, that'll more than likely happen next month when the actual 40th anniversary comes around. We'll have to do a big Star Wars episode in honor of the 40th. So, Chrissy's back.
I'm back.
Hey, Mitch is here too. Yeah. We're in the middle of news.
Here. That's great.
So.
Hello.
We're just going through all the Star Wars news. So, yep. And then
there is much.
Yeah. So, and then one of the most exciting things about Star Wars Celebrations was, of course, anything related to what's happening in the Disney parks. Disney Imagineers, during the Disney Parks panel, essentially confirmed that they have come up with a way to make realistic lightsabers. Of course, they're not going to go into the technology and everything. I guess there was a patent or something filed that, patents are anyone can go look up a patent. So you can go and look it up. And I guess if you understood what it said, then you could maybe figure it out. But yeah, in theory, you could actually wield I'm doing air quotes here, but lightsaber. Something that's not, a long tube of plastic with a light bulb in it. So, which that's kind of cool. I mean, if anyone's gonna be able to come up with that actual, something that's closer to what we think a lightsaber would look like in real life, Disney would be the people to do it, I think.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Imagineers. I'm sure there's whoever the lead on that project is goes to bed at night like I'm inventing lightsabers. I know I would be.
I'm sure. Yeah. Whoever is doing this is like, I'm sure they love it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And then the other big announcement come from the Disney Parks panel is they mentioned that the Star Wars lands that they're building in Florida and California are going to be very interactive. Obviously, with Disney, you step into these lands and they're very immersive, but they're going, several steps beyond that. They said that when a guest steps foot into inside the land that was surrounded by, the Star Wars story, but it'll also include their story, and every move that you make will make an impact on how the rest of your experience plays out. So they said, for example, guests boarding the Millennium Falcon ride will have an opportunity to work together to command the Millennium Falcon. So you'll have to make choices on the ride, and whether, and depending on those choices you make, will impact what happens when you get off the ride. So, for example, you could get off the Millennium Falcon after piloting it, and step into the local watering hole to grab a glass of blue milk, because of course they're going to have that. You might find yourself on the wrong side of the local crowd if you made a bad choice. A bounty hunter may be looking for you. Or you could be shopping in the marketplace and you may come across a droid or another character that forces you to make a decision. So that is wild.
It's like those choose your own adventure books come up to life.
It is. It's almost like a choose your own adventure.
This is like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with a twist.
Yes. Yeah. Oh. Obviously, there's more details to emerge the closer we get to the Star Wars Land opening next year, 2 years from now.
Start saving your pennies now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, Disney's always been very much about story. I've said this a lot. I even wrote a thesis about it in college.
I love the Star Tours ride when my folks and I went down to Disney when I was in 4th grade, and it's just like, I think I went on the ride like, okay, enough, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. No. They've done similar things in the past. They did something in a Frontierland or Adventureland a couple of years ago where they much smaller scale, but there were interactive elements, and what you decided to do would affect other things. So it's that, but on a much larger scale.
So be careful, or you might have Honda Bob
yeah.
his doctor pal come after you.
Yeah. As long as no one's arm gets chopped off,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I think we'll be fine. So,
Mm-hmm.
just remember, let the Wookiee win.
Yes, exactly.
Indeed.
Yep. And of course, the biggest and most exciting thing, I think, to come out of Star Wars Celebration, and this is no surprise, we kind of expected this, because it is Star Wars Celebration, is we got our first trailer for The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Which,
And it
oh my god.
it looks great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little different than like when the first Force Awakens trailer came out, and everybody was like, bouncing off the walls just because it'd been so long since we had Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I think this one now, it's like I think people are a little calmer. I mean, they're still excited, but just because we know we're getting Star Wars. We've had quite a bit of Star Wars the last couple of years. I mean, the last 2 years there's been 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm not losing my excitement. It's just kind of like a little more mellow, if that makes sense. But yeah, The Last Jedi, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part is Poe and BB-8 running for the X-wing and turns
Mm-hmm.
around
Kaboom.
and it blows up and it's like, oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting out that way.
Yeah.
No, indeed.
It's like you can tell. You could kind of tell, unlike with The Force Awakens, where we got, clips of Finn and Rey and BB-8 and Poe and Kylo Ren and all that. They were like, look at all these characters that are going to be in this movie. And now it's like, we know who these people are. So now they can tailor, at least this trailer to, okay, you know who these characters are. This is going to be, this is the focus now. And at least this trailer, the tone of the film is very, we still have Finn. Yes, we still have Leia. We've still got Poe and BB-8, Precious Cinnamon Roll. But the focus is Rey and Luke. And that's, that's going to be the main drive for this particular film. And we have these clips of Rey training with Luke, and it's I told Chauncey that there's a one clip where it like pans around the island and you see Rey practicing with a lightsaber and Luke watching kind of off in the distance, and you see the water behind the island, and I'm like, it's like Rey's having her Karate Kid moment right there.
Yes, it is
practicing by the water. So it's like, it's Star Wars: The Last Jedi, aka Rey is the Karate Kid and Luke is Mr. Miyagi.
Let's just hope Luke doesn't put a ship somewhere, and that way he can say, "Get that out."
Yeah. Who knows?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
I had to do that with my Jedi Master. I'm returning the favor.
Yeah. So, but it's exciting, and we get, we see most of the familiar faces. I don't think there's a shot of Chewie in these clips.
Remember seeing
we don't see Maz.
No, I
didn't see him anywhere.
I just watched it. No Chewie.
Yeah.
Boo.
But
well, I can kind of understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do get Leia from the back, but it's definitely Leia because they released production photos in that same shot. They've got it from the front. You can see them with the cameras. They were filming that particular shot. And kind of on a side note, they did confirm, unless they decided to change their mind, contrary to what Carrie Fisher's brother had said, Leia will not appear in Episode 9. I guess Carrie's brother had said that both he and Billy Lord had given Disney permission to use any unused footage from The Last Jedi in Episode 9, but I guess they've decided they're not going to do that. So they have tweaked the script and the storyline appropriately to accommodate the fact that Carrie has passed, but unless I guess they're going to do something else to explain why she's not there. So.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to have a good cry, there is video of the Carrie Fisher tribute from Star Wars Celebration. George Lucas and other folks that said some very nice things about her, and then they brought Billy Lord out, and as soon as she walked out and started talking, I'm like, oh!
I still have yet to sit down and watch that. And
someone was chopping onions as I was watching Billy Lord talk about her mother. And then they did a surprise concert with full orchestra playing music, directed by John Williams, conducted by John Williams. So. But yeah, Star Wars Celebration, Star Wars Fandom Christmas. From what I've seen of pictures and video from the various Disney outlets I follow, they all had a lot of fun. So, and now Chauncey kind of wants to go. One of these years.
And then I think rumor had it too that Weird Al was also there doing a concert.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that.
Yes, because I happened to follow and friend another guy who happens to be in one of the battalions.
Uh-huh.
And he had a quick little shot of the first few seconds of him doing the Saga Begins.
Nice.
I was like, well, and I think you had to buy the tickets pretty early, and they kind of sold out right away. It's like,
well, yeah.
I know it was a little more than I expected, but it's Weird Al for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. I wonder if he did Yoda.
Yeah, you might have.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
He might have. He's a huge Star Wars fan. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, Star Wars, happiness and joy, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So.
Before you know it, it'll be here.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So many things going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of things going on, excuse me, I'll jump in here and do a quick recap of my weekend, Indiana Comic-Con. So, not Star Wars Celebration, not the only convention going on over Easter weekend, much to people's chagrin. So, honestly, I really don't have a lot to say about Indiana Comic-Con. Mostly because my experience this time around was a lot different than, if I'd just gotten a badge, like everyone else and gone. But I was there with an exhibitor badge because I was helping out our friends over at Who North America, which experiencing a convention in this manner I'm very tired. Is the only way I could put it. I'm just bone tired. We had to set up the booth Thursday. So I was at the shop bright and early Thursday morning to load everything in all the vehicle, all the, because in Who North America's case, their booth, they literally have to build it from the ground up. It's not like in Artist Alley where you just have like a table and maybe a small display of some sort. The convention center, they supply tables, and that's about it. But we had this 20 by 20 square, of concrete that we had to turn into a booth. that people could shop at. So we loaded up everything, excuse me, and trucked it over to the convention center, and then had to unload everything, bring it in, and then construct the booth, which they've done this a bazillion times. They've got this wire walls rack system that is extremely flexible. Not literally, because it's metal, but it's flexible in the configurations. There's just these panels that screw together, and then you can attach racks and like corner shelves and hooks, metal hooks to hang stuff on. And Keith, I mean, he was like, put it there, one facing this way, one, go this many wide and then turn and go this many wide. Like, he knew exactly how to put it together without like any pre-planning or anything.
Wow.
Yeah, because they've done it so many times. So we got that all constructed, and then got the shelves in and the tables in, and then had to put all the merchandise out. And then the big old signs, the banners that sit up top. If you like look at the picture,
those banners looked awesome.
I know. They always get several. I think every convention, someone's like, "Where did you buy those? Can I buy those?" Like, no, they're custom, made just for them. Although I did ask, I was like, "What are we gonna do after Capaldi regenerates?" And Keith is like, "We may have to do singles." It's gonna single with a new doctor. But I think we got to the convention center a little before 2, and we left at 9:30.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty tiring. And then we were back at it first thing Friday morning to finalize everything. So that when they opened the doors to the vendor hall, we were ready to go. And I pretty much spent the entire weekend in their booth. Even if I wasn't technically on shift, for the most part, I spent my time in the booth, just kind of hanging out, just because this particular convention, I got bored. I got bored just because there was not enough to hold my interest. I did run into some friends. I had some friends in Artist Alley that I would stop by and say hi to them and see how their convention was going and that sort of thing, which was fine. I didn't do any panels except for I did pop into the they've got an improv group that has been at this particular convention in the last few years. The group's called Penguin Knife Fight. But they do, they do improv, very Whose Line Is It Anyway style show.
Cool.
And it's quite funny, actually. And they do several shows throughout the weekend, and then the members have also their own specialties. One of them is also a magician, so he does his own show during the convention where he does magic. A couple of them are podcasters, so they do a live podcasting. And then they also do an improv show after hours that is 18 and older. They have to call it Penguin Knife Fight with bad words. So I did catch one of their shows, not the after hours one, the family friendly one. They were quite funny. I laughed quite a bit, so they're quite entertaining. Catch anything in the way of panels. The few panels I would have liked to go to, they were while I was officially in the booth, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is.
Your photo op was awesome.
Yeah, I'll get to that. That was like kind of the highlight of the entire weekend. Friday, decent crowd, especially considering it was Good Friday. But a lot of people get Good Friday off work. So there was a decent number of people. Saturday was nuts. Absolutely bonkers with the amount of people. One, it's Saturday. Saturdays at conventions, always your heaviest day. Hands down. No way around it. It's the the day people have off work. It's the day kids have off school. You don't have church for a good chunk of people. I know there's some religions that they do go like churches on Saturday, but for the majority, it's not a religious day unlike Sunday. So Saturday, always your heaviest day. That's also the day usually when they have like the cosplay contests. So that's when a lot of people bring their A game as far as cosplay is concerned. But it just so happened with the celebrity scheduling, they had a last minute change with the schedule. Because I think it was Wednesday night, they, on the Indiana Comic Con page, they made an announcement. They even posted a copy, a screenshot of the email that they got. But, like right before the convention, they had to announce that Carrie Elwes had to cancel. At about half an hour, and then I went to bed. I'm like, oh, that's disappointing, but it was no skin off my teeth. And I went to bed, and then I looked the next morning, and they made another announcement. They're like, well, we made this announcement. About 30 minutes later, we get an email saying, oh, wait, no, Carrie can make it. He was originally supposed to be there Saturday and Sunday. And then they thought he had to cancel completely. And they were trying to work it so maybe he could be there like just Saturday. Because he's filming something and they're trying to work around like union out, the union schedule and that sort of thing. Because the union laws. And they just couldn't make it work. But then I guess his people or whatever and him were able to finagle things, so now he was going to be there Friday and Saturday instead of Saturday and Sunday, which made a lot of people very happy, although some people apparently missed the memo. Pro tip, people, if you're going to a convention, if they have an app, download it, because that tends to be the most up-to-date, but also follow their Facebook page or whatever social media they use. That is where you're going to see last-minute announcements. So there's so many people that are like, I didn't know Carrie wasn't going to be here Sunday. I'm like, they mentioned it on Facebook, people. It's in the app. So don't go blindly. If there's someone you really want to see, keep checking whatever official source from the convention is, not their website. Because a lot of times, once they get to convention time, they're not updating their website. That's too much work. They're going to be posting on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and if they have an app, probably the app, because apps are easier to update than websites in some cases.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about coding.
Yes, pretty much. So, tip, people. That's my pro tip. But yeah, again, no skin. Yeah, it didn't affect me any, so I wasn't too concerned about it. Although I did like when they made the second announcement saying, "Oh, never mind, Carrie will be there. He'll just be there Friday, Saturday instead of Saturday, Sunday." And my favorite comment in the comment section was, "He was mostly canceled."
Yes.
Inconceivable.
I was like, "Oh, you win. You win the internet."
Mostly canceled. Love it.
Mostly canceled. But that being said, Saturday, busiest day, because that was the day all of the celebrities were there, with the exception of Millie Bobby Brown, because she was only there Sunday. But other than her, every single celebrity was there on Saturday, so that made it pretty crazy. I like the way they laid stuff out this year. our booth happened to be right across from all the celebrities, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll be able to watch the celebrities while I'm working in the booth. Yeah, no, there was too many people. All I saw was the backs of the heads of the people standing in line, for the most part. But, oh well. And apparently a couple of them, even if I could, I wouldn't be able to see them anyway. Val Kilmer, and Carrie Elwes, and I think maybe Sean McGuire, their tables where they were doing autographs, they actually put behind the curtain. So you would stand in line and then go behind the curtain to do your autograph. Which is weird.
Carrie Elwes at FanX, he had a kind of a blocked off thing. I think he just likes to do that to have like more one-on-one thing with people. I don't know.
Yeah. It may be a bit quieter that way too, and you don't have like people, you don't have all the people standing in line like staring, like boring in the back of your head, like, hey, hurry up, I want my go. So
yeah,
away from prying eyes, which I hadn't thought of that, but that's actually kind of nice. But the rest of the celebrities, they're very traditional setup, where you stand in line and they're sitting at the table. They got a sign hanging behind them with their face and their name and all of that fun stuff. Although I did get a glimpse of Nichelle Nichols at one point, because her line got down to like a handful of people and I could kind of see her. So I did get a glimpse of her, which is good.
It's kind of cool when you can do that from afar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they had them against the wall, which makes sense. But unlike the last time I went, they had moved the year 2 years ago. When I went and when Jenna Coleman was there, when you walked into the vendor hall, they'd had the photo op area was right there when you came in the door. Right, it started right near a concession stand too. And then they had all the celebrities, and they went from like biggest celebrity to like, lesser known celebrities at the far end. So it created just this cluster of people when you first try to enter the vendor hall. Now, I don't know what the layout was last year because I didn't go last year. This year, they were smart. One, they pushed them a little further back, closer to the wall. The photo op area was clear at the far end, and they went from like voiceover artists and progressively got, it's all perspective, but in general, higher tier celebrities to Val Kilmer all the way at the far end, closer to the photo op area. And then they also put in like a barrier in between the celebrities and the big chunk of floor, and then the first of the vendor booths, which was nice because then people could kind of mill around, take pictures of cosplays that they like, and they weren't blocking any of the vendor booths, but they also weren't creating a mess for the people trying to get in line for the celebrities. So that I will give them thumbs up for, adjusting the layout accordingly, because this worked way better. Because like when Sunday rolled around, and it was a lot quieter. One, because it's Sunday. Two, it was Easter. And three, a good number of the celebrities weren't there anymore. When they opened up the vendor hall, there's like, I'd see from where I was, there would be occasional trickle of people come by, but then there was just this gush of people that just came in the door, took a slight turn to the left, past the concession stand, onto the carpeted area where the celebrities were, and just like salmon going upstream to spawn. Just this gush of people that went woo right over to Millie Bobby Brown's table.
Not too surprised.
Yeah, because she was only there on Sunday. Which I even predicted that. I'm like,
Sean McGuire had posted on his Instagram a picture of him and Millie together.
Yeah.
It must have been kind of, their tables must have been right next to each other.
Yes. Yeah. She took over the spot. They had their two signs right next to each other instead of spaced out like the rest of them, but she was sharing booth space with the guy from The Walking Dead, which I don't watch The Walking Dead. But he was only there Friday, Saturday, so that when he left Sunday, Millie, they just replaced the sign that was right behind the table with hers. So yeah, but yeah, it was like Sean. It was like Millie, Sean, Carrie, and then Val Kilmer at the end. But thankfully Sunday was quieter, which was good. And the good chunk of people that were there to meet Millie Bobby Brown, which again was nice. So when they opened up, the vendor floor, I was in the booth, but I was like, I'll be right back. And I hustle on over to where they're selling the photo ops. And I'm like, there's so many people there. Like Austin St. John, I guess, had like the first photo op of the day. So they had people lining up, for him. But then they were also like selling the ones for Millie in a separate line just because there were so many people. I've never seen so many boxes of Eggos at a convention in my entire life.
I don't even think you need to say at a convention, just that many boxes of Eggos.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my local grocery store doesn't carry that many boxes of Eggos. I
wonder how many grocery stores in a number-mile radius were out of Eggos.
I have no idea. No idea. But I hustled on over there, and they asked, it's like, I'd like a photo with Charlie, please. I was like, here you go. And they're like, like for $10 more, you can get a digital download. I'm like, no, thank you. Just give me the ticket, please.
Anything to get more money.
Oh, I know. Like, no,
that's okay.
I'm good. So I got my little ticket and I put it in my pocket. I'm like, yay. And I asked him, I was like, is it okay if I come a little after the start of the photo op time? And the gal was, because his photo op started at 12:30, and I was supposed to be in the booth till 1. Yeah. And she said, well, as long as there's a line, you're fine. But once the line empties, the photo op will end. Like, okay. So I go back to the booth and I'm helping people and, selling stuff and squeeing about Doctor Who because it had been on the night before. Yay! And like 12:30 rolled around and it was still pretty, we had a decent stream of folks, but it wasn't busy nearly like it was on Saturday. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do my thing and then I'll come back. They're like, okay. So I hustle back on over there. And there was a decent line. But it moved fairly quickly. I think I was in line like 10 minutes, 15 maybe at most. So I was standing in line, chatting with people. It got to the point where I could kind of peek through the side curtain and I could see Millie Bobby Brown at her table just because I was at the right angle. I'm like, oh, there she is. Like, she's so tiny. So, I'm waiting, kind of, playing on Facebook on my phone and kind of chatting with the, with all the other people waiting in line. We're just kind of chilling. They've got us in line, and then you have to go through the curtain, and you can see the flash every time they take a photo coming from over the top of the curtain. It was, I got to the point where I was the next person to go through the curtain, and they had like the backdrop was there, and then Charlie Cox was standing in front of it, and I could see the photographer with all his lights and everything. So they had like whoever was getting their photo taken, and then like a little tape mark on the ground for the next person to wait, and then a second person waiting. So I was the second person waiting inside the curtain, handed him my ticket, like, here you go. And then the guy standing on the tape X would be the first person waiting. So, and whoever's getting their photo taken, and then the guy in front of me, he was going to get his photo taken, and I was the person standing on the tape. And then it was my turn. And with these photo ops, for the most part, it's kind of like processing cattle, where it's like, go up, smile, flash, bang, move on. But Charlie, oh my goodness, nicest person ever. One of the nicest people. Every person, when they'd walk up for their photo, he was greeting them. He was shaking their hand. He was asking what their name was. Super, super nice. Of course, he plays Daredevil on Netflix. I was dressed as Jessica Jones. Because that was appropriate. So it gets to my turn, and he turns and he sees me. He's like, "Hey, JJ!"
Nice.
And I shook his hand. I'm like, "Mr. Murdoch." He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he went to put his arm around me, because that's what he had been doing with most people, is, doing the arm around the person thing and smiling. But I was like, Jessica Jones, him being Daredevil, I was like, can we do the, fighting stance? He's like, oh, absolutely. So we get in our pose, a fighting stance, and they take the photo, and then he shakes my hand again. He's like, what was your name? I'm like, Rachel. And he's like, well, so good to meet you. And I'm like, you too. I'm really looking forward to the Defenders. He's like, that's awesome. Have a good day. And I walked off. So it's like, as far as photo ops go, he definitely tried to make it seem less like processing cattle. And he's super, super nice. He is, I kind of wish I'd had a chance to go get his autograph too, and maybe, have more than the 30 seconds that I had in the photo op. But, it was really good celebrity encounter, which, is always a good thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And the photo turned out really well too, which is always a good thing as well.
Yeah.
So I'm still not too happy with the quality of the photo that I had with Jenna 2 years ago, but I think this is a different photographer from 2 years ago, which is good.
Maybe they got enough complaints.
Maybe. So, but yeah, so 1 Defender down, 3 more to go. But I have my photo with Daredevil, cool. So I only need to get the other 3. So that was pretty fun. And then I went back to the booth and finished out my shift, and then kind of wandered and talked to friends. And the next thing I know, the convention's over and we're tearing stuff down. Tear down went a lot faster than set up, which is good. It was still quite a bit of work. Thankfully, we sold a lot, so we are taking a lot less back to the shop.
That's good.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, than what we started with. And Keith and Janie seemed to be happy with the amount of business that they had, that they had gotten in the booth for the weekend. In general, I think they were okay with it. I know Janie. I heard Janie complain a couple of times with the about the convention and the way that they were running things this year. I've not been quiet on my displeasure with this particular convention. It's not really anything they've done to me personally, because I've only been to the convention once. But just the way they've handled things with people I know. And I'm, not that happy with this particular convention. Even if I had friends that didn't have complaints about the organizers and everything, just the Indiana Comic-Con as a whole, the best way I can explain it is, and I had several people, I gave them this metaphor or whatever you call it, and they agreed with me. In the cereal aisle of conventions, Indiana Comic-Con is cornflakes. It's decent. It'll fill you. It'll keep you from being hungry, but it's just not exciting. Yeah, I need Lucky Charms. Or at the very least, Frosted Flakes. Not regular corn flakes. Just the convention itself just doesn't really have anything special about it. It's kind of, it may sound weird, especially to someone who maybe doesn't go to conventions, so they don't have a frame of reference. But compared to something like, Indie PopCon, where the people that run it and own it really care about the fan experience and wanting them to have a unique and special experience, and they're not about the bottom line and making money. And the variety of guests that they try to get and the variety of the programming, so that there's a little bit for everyone, is what makes PopCon so much fun. GenCon, yes, it's a gaming convention, and the big thing is gaming in that big vendor hall where you can buy the exclusives and get first crack at new games and that sort of thing. But gaming is a niche, but it makes it unique. Having that focus being gaming. Just Indiana Comic-Con, it's just meh. They've got
kind of there.
Yeah, it's just there. They've got celebrities, but for the most part, I was excited that I got to meet Charlie and got my picture with him. But at the same time, if I hadn't been there, and I'd been at home, I would have been like, whatever. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I really was only there because, the folks at Who North America needed the help, and I wanted to make sure that they had a good convention, because that's good for them. If they have the help, they can run their booth, they can make the money they need to keep themselves in business. So that's why I was more than happy to go. Yes, it means I got to go to the convention for free. But at the end of the day, it's like, whatever. So, as far as Indiana Comic-Con is concerned, again, I'll go if they have someone that I'm excited to meet. I may think about going on my own, but otherwise I'll just, if Who North America needs my help, then and that gets me in the door. And I just so happen to, the schedule works out that I can meet said celebrity, great. If not, whatever. So, that's my 2 cents about Indiana Comic-Con.
I think you kind of run the risk of that kind of thing happening with geek culture being as big as it is, and comic conventions doing all that. And it's like, yeah, you have your indie pop cons, you have your Salt Lake Fan X's, or Salt Lake Comic Con, you have Fan Expo and all these other different things that are like, get you hyped up and excited. And then there's the ones that are just like, hey, this is a money-making opportunity, let's cash in. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but it's like, put some extra effort into it. Just because you get a vendor hall together doesn't mean that this is actually going to be a memorable, awesome thing. You know what I mean? It's like, put some effort into it, guys.
Yeah.
But, well, you got to meet Charlie Cox, so yay.
Yes, I got to meet Daredevil. So that's all. That's all good.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's it for news as such. We do have a little bit of feedback.
Yep. And
if it's all right with you guys, I'll go ahead and read this one out. It's from my little sister, Shalane.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love her. She's wonderful.
Yeah, we've actually had her feedback since last show. It's just we didn't get around to actually mentioning it or talking about last week, but I've had her feedback several times, and I think I get the gist of what she's saying. Since I've read it.
I'll read it out.
Yeah.
Basically says, well, ladies, I'm glad you liked my email I sent you. I wasn't going to do it all the time, but just a couple. Plus, I'm your biggest fan. But let's see. Hold on. I'd like to share this about the shows, old shows getting reboots. I was talking to a friend of mine, and it's kind of hard to replace the original voice actors of Miss Frizzle and Scrooge McDuck and some of those others. Same with replacing Julie Andrews for Mary Poppins Returns. I kind of think, let's see, she wonders, like, maybe they could do a digital, like with Pirates 5, which I think we kind of talked about this a little bit, that we weren't sure if that's what they were doing, doing a digital Johnny Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Or a digital Robert Downey Jr. for young Tony Stark in Civil War. It's like they could do that for Mary Poppins Returns, because you can't let's see, same thing with Mufasa, Darth Vader. You need James Earl Jones for that, which that's a little different. This is me talking now. It's a little different since James Earl Jones is doing voices for that, and you can kind of do different things with your voice. But anyway, but that's just my theory. There was going to be a movie called Poppins, the story of Mary Poppins. Emily Blunt would play Mary Poppins. Now they changed it to Mary Poppins Returns. Again, it can be hard to replace the original actors for these reboots. And, we've talked about that before a little bit. Maybe that could be a topic for later, like when they do reboots and they recast characters. I don't know. We'll think about that later. Yep. And then also she talked about how she heard rumors that Disneyland was planning to build a Marvel Land in California Adventure, which they're doing the Guardians of the Galaxy ride where Tower of Terror used to be. We've talked a little bit about that before.
Yep.
Anyway, that's her feedback.
Yep. Yeah. The thing with Mary Poppins, as much as I'd love to see Julie Andrews reprise the role, first off, the Mary Poppins, Emily Blunt Mary Poppins, that's going to be a musical, and unfortunately, Julie Andrews can no longer sing like she used to. She had to have vocal cord surgery or something years ago, and they screwed it up, and it damaged her vocal cords. Yeah, so she can't sing.
Now that you mention it, I'm like, I think I remember that.
Yeah, so she can't sing like she used to, unfortunately. So that kind of puts the kibosh on her being Mary Poppins if you want to continue it to be a musical. That doesn't mean that she, may not make a cameo appearance in the Emily Blunt movie. We already know Dick Van Dyke's going to. But unfortunately, Julie can, she can't give the role what it needs just because she's not physically capable of doing it anymore. Because Mary Poppins is a musical, and it kind of needs to stay a musical. And the digital reproductions of the digital characters, they have their place. They did in Rogue One, I think they did a really good job with Grand Moff Tarkin, and the bit from Leia at the end. They did a really good job with young Tony Stark in Civil War, and I think the young Jack Sparrow, I think based on just what we've seen in the trailer. I'm assuming they use similar technology as like what they used in Civil War and Rogue One. So,
but it's like there's a little bit. For Tarkin, but like for Tony Stark, it was just in that one little flashback memory bit. That it was there, so it wasn't there the whole movie.
Yeah, you're not asking.
And Tarkin was there quite a bit, but not as much as the other characters.
It's not a main character. They're not having to carry the entire movie.
Yeah.
But it has its place for
Oh yeah.
to be done. So, and I think Disney is smart enough to know when it should be used and when it should not be used. So,
I agree.
and I would really love if they would put a Marvel Land in one of the parks. I don't at this point. I don't even care which one. I need more Marvel. I need more Marvel.
Yes,
Unfortunately, at this point, it would be in California just because of the
Universal thing.
The Universal thing. So eventually, hopefully, that'll get straightened out and they can start putting more Marvel stuff in Florida. And I would hope either way, even if tomorrow they were Universal's like, oh yeah, put all the Marvel you want in Florida. That Disney makes sure that each coast has something special enough to draw people to both. So that's the one thing I like is that Disneyland is just Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom. They're similar, but they're just different enough. And they have just enough unique rides that you can go to both and be happy and not feel like, well, why did I come all the way to California when I could go to Florida and vice versa? So. Plus, me, I'm all for more Marvel. So. Anyway, well, thank you, Shalane, for the feedback.
Yes, we do enjoy getting your feedback, even if I kind of stumble through it.
It's okay. She is our biggest fan. She is our self-proclaimed biggest fan. I think she holds she holds that title proudly. We'll be more than happy to give it to her. So, all right. Well, shall we move on to the main topic for the week, which is
yes, let's.
This just in, Doctor Who is on.
Woohoo! Arte, everybody.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's been a long year.
It's like
I missed it.
it's like a drink
And
of
it's funny,
water
it's
after being in the desert.
Yeah. It's funny, it's like, when you're in the middle of the hiatus, I guess you want to call it, and, there's no Doctor Who, you're kind of like, oh, okay, well, we've got Big Finish, we've been reading the Bridge Stewart books, and we've got, whatever else you want to do, but then different, even though there's new companion, and some of the story structure is a little different. It's like, it's still Doctor Who. It's still there. All the things you love, and it's just like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh. I don't. Where do we want to start? With
that
the
opening
pilots.
was cool.
Yes.
I mean, it was almost just kind of like a sitting for a cuckoo clock, the way Nardole kind of came in all creaky and losing the bolt.
I've read several articles since the pilot aired on Saturday. People doing their reviews of the return of Doctor Who, and several people have almost compared this almost to a soft reboot, just because the show has been off the air for so long. It's almost been 2 years. Aside from the Christmas special, we've not had Doctor Who for a good chunk of time, and the fact that we're coming in with a new companion, and kind of a new storyline, because this is Moffat. He likes to play the long game, even if it's just for a season. One episode in, he set up something that it's like, okay, what's this thing? Are you gonna, answers are probably going to be slowly forthcut. All the answers that we're asking for with this vault that the Doctor and Nardole are protecting. So,
which I'm totally okay with, because more story, more excitement, more yay.
Yeah.
I think. I'm trying to think how do I phrase this. Well, I guess I sent in feedback to Traveling the Vortex talking about it. It was just a short little bit, but and I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch the episode since Saturday. But I think, because RTD kind of did that with the whole, setting up a storyline throughout a season, but then you have your separate episode, one-off episodes.
Yeah, your monster of the week.
Yeah. But I think I like the way that this one's being set up so far. Is like they meshed Bill's introduction with the mystery, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because usually you have I think of the Bells of St. John, which is, I guess, the last one that we really had a proper companion introduction, even though Clara had been introduced before. But it's like you have the parts dealing with the new companion, and then you have the parts dealing with the imminent threat, alien threat, and then somehow, the companion, you just grab her by the arm and say, run, jump in the TARDIS, and let's go. And then you get the bigger on the inside moment and everything. But I think this one, Bill's intro was sort of woven into the alien threat.
Mm-hmm.
And it started out with Bill, she catches the Doctor's notice because of how she reacts to his class lectures, and it's different from all the other students, because the other students are bored or confused or whatever, and she smiles through it. And so he invites her to, kind of have tutoring sessions or whatever it is, and then she gets caught up, like she meets the alien threat before the Doctor does, really, with the puddle in the vacant lot or whatever it was in the back,
and then her asking, how'd you get that in there, from a kit?
Yeah.
No, took the window out, took the wall out, big crane.
and then this was actually where Jared really clued in that Bill was different, is when she notices that the TARDIS is sitting on top of the rug.
Yes, that he got the Doctor for Christmas.
Yep. And she's like, but you had to get a crane in to move it. How did you? And it was just, I was just like, aha, there you go. There's your companion moment. Is when you become, when you know that this new companion is totally going to work out, and she notices just that little detail, and I'm like, you're wonderful.
She's quick. She's
she's
very inquisitive. And, Moffat said, Bill is going to ask questions that no one has ever thought to ask before. Everything from where's the toilet, which now we know, down the stairs, take a right, take a left.
Thinking the TARDIS is a kitchen.
Yeah, thinking the TARDIS is a kitchen.
Yes. Money for the doors.
All the way up to, why is it called a TARDIS? TARDIS, because those letters do not exist in any other language and still spell the same word. That had never occurred to me.
Well, and then too, the doors are made out of wood.
Well, I think the reason it's TARDIS and that it's in English is because, Susan named it, and Susan was so in love with Earth and particularly England, and she deliberately named it in English.
Yeah. Yeah. But us being,
or that's how it translates to us. I don't know.
Us being Earthlings, it never occurred to us that it could potentially be something else in another language. So, although the Time Lords are, in general are such well-known beings throughout the universe, before the Time War and all that other languages probably maybe have adapted. So, who knows?
There's plenty of room for theories there, for sure.
And the scene, too, when the Doctor's debating about letting Bill kind of become the companion, he looks at both of the pictures. Don't you start, don't you start, and then the TARDIS kind of put her 2 cents in with the
she has to put her 2 cents in.
Everyone is conspiring against the Doctor. Even the pictures
all the ladies
of Rivers
in his life are teaming up on him.
All the women in the Doctor's life.
Yes.
because they all know the Doctor needs somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even though there's no picture of Clara, or at least I didn't see one.
No.
Like I said, I've only seen episode once. But they played her little background music at one point when he's thinking about taking Bill, and it's like Clara from somewhere in the back of the Doctor's mind, which he doesn't technically remember her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still there that she's telling him, here's your new companion, take her with you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still got his guitar.
Yes.
Hooked up to the TARDIS's sound system from the sounds of things.
Yeah.
And then too, I was chuckling about the vault settings when he looks at Nardle's like, what were the security settings? Friends only.
Yeah.
Just this is Facebook.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah. I'm just kind of thinking, like, going back to how Moffat says Bill will ask questions that no one's ever thought of. I mean, you think about the 50 years of Doctor Who history. How many times can you introduce a brand new companion to the TARDIS and still make it new and interesting for, those of us who are familiar with the universe? I mean, we've all come to Doctor Who through the new series, right? Am I?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. As a TARDIS, bigger on the inside, and blah blah blah. And it's like, how do you convey that wonder and excitement when a new companion? Because when I saw Bill like looking around, when she she's standing there like she thinks she's in a little tiny police box and looking out the window in the TARDIS doing things, and she's like, we're kind of cramped in here, or whatever she says. And then she turns around and she just gets that look on her face, and I'm like, I feel like,
come on.
The lights come on, and I'm seeing this brand new with her, even though I'm like, I know how this scene goes. I'm with the Doctor going, waiting for her to say it's bigger on the inside, and he goes, and like, I mean, I guess it's a combination of writing and acting on Happy, which she owned this episode. I just
and I just they had a little bit of a strax, almost like,
yeah.
You want me to get to Bill about imagine the box, then imagine another one, which was kind of reminiscent of the Fourth Doctor and was it Romana?
Imagine a bigger box inside a smaller box. Now actually do it.
Yeah, it was Sarah Jane, actually.
It's the second part where people get stuck.
Yeah. I like Nardle's comment where, the Doctor's waiting for Bill to say, it's bigger on the inside, and even Nardle's like, is this taking longer than usual?
Like she's not gonna go there.
I like how at first she thought it was like a knockout, what she called it?
Yeah, and then she thought it was an elevator.
Left in the Doctor's office, and then there's a knock through a wall to another room.
Yeah.
So kind of like a secret passage sort of thing.
Yeah. At first she thought it was more of a secret passage type thing, and then the box moves, and it's like, oh, it's not a knock through. It's actually this big inside the little box.
Yep.
And I was she was like, this can only it can travel all over the place in the universe.
And then they go to Australia.
Yeah.
First she's like, it's daytime? Do we travel through time? No, we just traveled to Australia.
Just as long as Tegan doesn't find out.
Of course not. We were in Australia.
Which, why not Australia? Plus, I think it was a nice little reference to a
shot
certain.
that very well with the doctor blocking the view of the Sydney Opera House.
Yeah.
And then
yes.
we decide to make for the reveal.
Yeah.
That was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
That was. It was. Oh yeah. This whole episode just looked really good.
Yeah.
And the special effects on the water monster was just awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kept thinking that this was going to be a callback to like Waters of Mars. I kept saying, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's not water. It's fancy
midnight.
Spaceship oil.
On the midnight too, with the repeating of the certain phrases that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were lots of nice little nods. I mean, there's the photos of River and Susan on his desk. He's got the cup full of sonic screwdrivers. When they go to the fight between the Daleks and the Mondo, which they didn't even mention them by name. So it's like, if you're not familiar with the classic series, you're going to be like, who are the Daleks fighting? Who are the people with the dreadlocks?
I know, I recognized them. It's like, oh my goodness. And at first I couldn't remember the name. I had to look on my Destiny of the Daleks box to remind myself, what are those guys called?
Yeah.
But I think you could just, even if you aren't familiar with it, you could say, oh, it's another alien race that the Daleks are fighting, and maybe there's because I think a lot of people realize that Doctor Who has been around for a long time, and so they just kind of figure, oh, it's a callback to whatever that is, whatever something is.
Something from the show's history.
Yeah.
But if you've seen Destiny of the Daleks, who the Daleks are fighting in this episode.
Well,
I had to like Jared asked like, oh, who are they? Because he figured I knew, and I was like, well, they're the Movellans, and they fought them in the Destiny of the Daleks, and it was during the fourth Doctor's era. And he's like, okay, and then we just went back on to watching the episode. I'm like, I think I have a copy of that somewhere. I think we should watch it.
And that's probably why they did that too.
Rewatching Destiny of the Daleks might be a good idea.
Yeah. Well, and I was surprised too, because it was like, as far as I knew, Bill's introductory episode was going to be a Dalek episode, and it's like there's Daleks in it, but it's not a Dalek episode.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that's where they filmed the little clip that they showed when they introduced. Here's our new companion.
See a little part of that clip, like where she's asking what the Daleks are. It's just the rest they don't show. They didn't include the rest of the clip with the whole "do you really want them to save time?" thing.
And she's doing quite well considering her first introduction. No, that's a Dalek. Oh, okay.
What's a Dalek?
And the scene when the Doctor's about to erase her memory, and she's like, "No, please don't." It was just like, oh my gosh,
like, don't do it, you don't want to do it.
I think he was remembering, like, he had to do that to Donna, and and that, so I was just like, oh boy.
Yeah. Like, don't you dare, Doctor. Don't you even go there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, he
didn't. It's like, did you not learn your lesson before?
Yeah.
No more of that. No more of those shenanigans.
Yeah. Well, and, when Bill says, how would you like that if someone did that to you? And that kind of like, that did happen to him. Because of the That's
true.
Well, he did that to himself.
Yeah.
From the family of blood.
That too. But I was just thinking about him losing the memory of Clara. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like after the episode aired, I saw a bunch of like GIF sets of Bill asking, "How would you like it if someone did that to you?" And like with black and white GIFs of the scene when his memory of Clara got erased.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, very, very pertinent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I liked when the Doctor was where they're trying to get away from, moist heather. And, the doctor's like, fire! And, he's taking them to the fight between the Daleks and the Bovellans, and Nardole figures out where they're going, and he's like, do I have to? And the doctor's like,
not there, I don't like there.
Yeah.
Too bad, you're gonna do it and you're gonna like it.
Pretty much.
Nardole's kind of like a C-3PO in this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it. So, and actually, Nardole, he seems to be pretty proficient with using a sonic screwdriver. So
Yes.
Yeah.
We have not seen the new Sonic in action yet. Not really. But we did get a classic Sonic. So
we got I think we got most, if not all, of the classic Sonic.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll have to go back and look again.
The 3 and 4 era ones, and the 9 and 10s.
Yep, I'm gonna have to go back and look, but I swear I think there was the Troughton one, the little pen light.
Yes,
yeah?
I think there was.
I mean, it's small, it's easy to miss, but I was looking when the shot stopped on the pen on the thing of the pen bucket of Sonics.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I bet you 2. Yep, there it is. Number 2 is right there.
Yeah.
What about the 11th? Did anybody see the 11th Doctors in that one?
Yep,
that
was
one was
there. Hmm? It was a little smaller though for some reason, or maybe just the way it was sitting in the cup.
Yeah, it was probably at an angle. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because it kind of looked like, because I have an 11th screwdriver that's a flashlight that's smaller than the actual sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it kind of looked like that. I'm like, I wonder if they just had a smaller one on hand. But I'm like, you're the BBC prop department. Don't you keep that stuff? Oh, wait. You guys don't keep anything.
Surely they've got a stash somewhere, because apparently Matt broke his quite often, so.
And didn't David Tennant too?
Yeah, I think those props were very.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was
Christopher Eccleston who he said that his prop kept breaking, and then he saw the toy ones that they were selling, and they were more sturdy than the one he used on the show.
Yeah.
It's like, go buy one, guys. Yeah. Go down to the local toy store or whatever.
Why not?
Or the gift shop at the BBC. Yeah. Whatever thing. Don't they have a gift shop? They don't have a little shop?
Oh, I'm sure they have like a little shop.
I
love
Doctor
a little
Who
shop.
Experience has one. They're still there for a couple more months, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, sometimes
send someone from the production team.
Sometimes the toys. Yeah, sometimes the toys can be just as good, if not better. They did that for the Power Rangers. If one of the morphers would break, the toys were sometimes better than what they could make there, and they go out to like Toys R Us and buy the toys and use those. So why not?
Hey, it works for Power Rangers. It can work for Doctor Who. Come
yeah.
on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's just good to have the Doctor back on TV again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always good to have Doctor Who back, but it's even better when it's good. Yeah.
Yes.
After being gone for so long.
We borrow the mantra that Traveling the Vortex uses: any Who is good Who.
But better Who is better.
But better Who is even better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very much so. So. It was a fun little episode. It wasn't like, there's some mystery. Like I said, there's this whole thing with the vault that the Doctor and Nardole are protecting, that we'll eventually figure out, what it is that the Doctor's protecting and why he's so reluctant to leave it and go traipsing off with a new companion. Obviously we know that his regeneration is coming at some point. I'm still assuming it's going to be at Christmas, but, rumor mills are trying to make us think otherwise, but I'm going to ignore
the
those.
rumor mill.
Yeah.
Oh, I just can I just say real quick?
Yeah.
Because I know that there is a quote unquote definitive casting rumor going around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They've said time and time again, people, that there has been no casting done for Series 11.
Yeah.
And that includes the Doctor. So
yeah.
whatever trashy tabloid is peddling whatever, it's a rumor.
Yes.
Until
even though one of the said trashy tabloids who took from the other was also saying, well, they stopped taking bets on who the next Doctor was going to be for casting. This is like, sure, yeah.
It's because they got something else to bet on instead.
I know. Don't they have like some sport that they could talk about? I mean, I know.
Yeah.
Baseball started up again.
Yeah. That's a thing.
I know. The UK isn't big into baseball, but come on, you guys, you have to have something.
Yeah.
I mean, I think cricket's starting back up. I don't know.
Wait, Jared just walked in. What'd you say?
Cricket is boring.
Did you hear that? He said cricket is boring.
Yeah.
This doctor may take a little umbrage with that.
He expects the lynch mob shortly.
Yep.
And send all your emails too.
Yeah.
All I know from cricket is what I know from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But yeah, very little.
I know too.
I know it's the Fifth Doctor's favorite sport, but I'm just like, I don't get it.
There's one mystery now.
One of my mom's favorites.
Years ago that dealt with cricket, but I kind of flipped through those pages like, it has nothing to do with the case, so I'm moving on.
It seems needlessly complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom loves cricket, but that comes from her time of living in Australia, so.
Oh, there you go. If you have background with it, then
yeah.
Yay. Oh, can I gush over one more little thing that just kind of made my heart happy?
No, what?
Is when the Doctor talks to Bill and asks about her family, or no, she mentions her mother, and he says, she says that she passed away as a baby, but she's never had any pictures.
Yes.
And then her I guess it's her foster mother that she lives with.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she says, here's this box of pictures. Why don't you go through it? And she's going through, and she's never seen these photos of her mother before, and she's like, I mean, that was such a sweet little moment. And before anything happens, I'm like, the Doctor did that, didn't he?
Yeah, because there's at least one picture where you can see him holding a camera in a mirror in one of the pictures,
and it's like. This version of the Doctor, he wouldn't want to make a big deal out of it, and he was legitimately trying to hide the fact that he's the one taking the pictures, but he's kind of the type that, yes, he would slip up and forget about that. And I was just like...
Forget about the mirror in the background, like...
Yeah, or forget to check for mirrors or something.
And the one who's not so big on hugging that he's secretly
not,
like the hugs.
The mirror can't see him. Yeah.
But it was a cute little moment, and it's another one of those, yep, you're the new companion, and you're coming with the Doctor, and it's just so cute.
And then Bill's little sass, why do you run like that?
like a penguin with its on fire.
I don't know if we can say it, but
you can use
I laugh.
You can use the British term instead, arse.
You're like a penguin with his arse on fire, and I'm like, I decided I need to get a T-shirt with that on it for Jared because he loves penguins. Anything to do with penguins. And maybe now I need fan art of the 12th Doctor as a penguin with his backside on fire.
Yes.
And he's got the grumpy face and the very large Pertwee-esque hair. Which I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but I look at his hair and I'm like, it's getting more and more Pertwee.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do too.
And then the hands kind of towards the back.
Yes. It's aerodynamic, or no, what do you call it? It's ergonomic.
Ergonomic, yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that's the right term, but we'll go with it.
Yeah.
We'll go with it.
The Doctor said it, so sure.
Yep. And he is the smartest one in her. Wink, wink. Not that.
I am very much looking forward to this season. Yes, me too.
Yeah.
And that shot of John Sim in the trailer, oh my goodness.
That was a very That was a very
and then
blink
Missy
and
looks like
you
she's
miss it.
almost fit to be tied, so I'm wondering what.
I almost thought she looked a little robotic. Like
she did seem robotic, so maybe it's like not actually her. Like I'm not saying she won't be in this season, but I'm saying that what we saw in the trailer wasn't actually her. It was something pretending to be her or.
And I wonder if, like, this whole John Sim master coming back, former masters, and they're all androids, and so they have him, and which makes me think, ooh, well, will we see, Delgado or Ainley or any, some of the others, Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts would probably make
dress for the occasion.
Okay, no. They'd probably make him pay for like out the nose to use his likeness. So they'd probably have to get around that somehow.
Yes.
And make sure he's dressed for the occasion.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, with Anthony Ainley and Roger Delgado, they'll have to fudge it a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if that is truly what they're doing, I'm just theorizing. I have no idea what it's going to do.
Yeah.
I like your
You
theory.
never do with Missy, unfortunately.
I don't know. It's all because Missy looked a little android-ish.
Yeah.
Just in that one shot.
This is also Missy.
Probably not canon, but it wouldn't be the first time you've had an android master. Missy. Master. Yeah, master. I can talk.
That is
true. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Shaka.
We don't talk of the Shaka.
First ruler Shaka. Don't talk Shaka.
Don't talk Shaka. If I never have to watch that, it'll be too soon. Not my favorite.
That's okay.
So, yeah. With Missy involved, pretty much anything could go. That's kind of the joy that is Missy in this incarnation of the Master is, we also
some shenanigans will ensue.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a robot, Missy. It could be Missy pretending to be a robot. That's why she does the dab like we saw in one of the other.
Oh no, I saw that. And I was like, please don't. Just don't. Missy. I mean, I guess that makes sense because she's the villain and evil, but ew, the dab.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sounding like a grumpy old woman. Please get off my lawn.
Apparently, we can blame Stephen Moffat's kid for the dab. That was his idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. This is a family show, and it is partially for the kids.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I
mean, the dab it seems pretty harmless from my point of view. Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's a fun little.
It is. It's just kind of getting to me. Like I said, I'm saying I'm being grumpy old lady like kids today. It's partially a joke. But anyway, I'm coming to terms with my own mortality and getting older and it's part of being a parent, I think, maybe. Anyway.
Doctor Who! It's back!
Doctor Who is back, and we're so happy and thrilled, and we love Bill. Nardal's great, and the Doctor is grumpy and charming and endearing and lovable as ever.
Yep. No. We are.
He doesn't do it much, but I love his smiles like he had during.
Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful?
He can be a softie.
Yes.
I secretly think he enjoys hugs.
Yes, he just pretends like he doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, one of my wishes is to get the Paternoster gang to meet Nardole and Bill and just see what would happen.
Strax and Nardole would be an interesting dynamic.
Yes.
I think they'd be causing problems. We'd probably have more explosions and oh boy. Don't get them anywhere near explosives.
Good times, good times.
I feel like we just sort of sat here and flailed and squeed about it, but that's what we...
Pretty much the way I felt this entire week leading up to Saturday. It's like,
And there wasn't a down point in the episode. I mean, I wasn't disappointed. I didn't really have expectations one way or the other. I'm just like, hey, I want to go on this ride again.
That's basically, I mean, that's basically how I feel. I mean, I could probably, you know, I may sit again, like, oh, there's that little nitpick thing, or I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel like being nitpicky. I just want to enjoy it. So, anything else anyone wants to? Do we touch on everything we wanted to touch on?
I think so.
Okay.
Ready for next week?
Yep.
Yes.
It just felt like there was a very full episode. There was a lot to take in, so you know we may come back and talk more. And if you, dear listener, about or didn't notice, or you just want to bring to our attention and flail about yourself, please send us feedback, and we'd be happy to read that out and let your views be known to the world as well, or at least to our audience. Our feedback email address is 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com, and that has links to all of our various social media presences, I suppose. Mostly we're on Facebook, and we post a lot of stuff there, and Instagram gets a lot of love, and we also have a YouTube channel that we post our podcast on. We're on a couple other places that probably ought to pay more attention to, but we don't. But we'll get there. And you can also download us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play Store. So you can find us there. We also have a Patreon account, which we always love our Patreon supporters. You guys make it possible for us to continue to do this and have it shared with others. I mean, we would probably do this anyway. We just feel like we should share the love. So if you are interested in becoming a Patreon donator to our podcast, you can do that from our website. And then there's also our Amazon store, which is another great way to support the show. You go to our Amazon store on our site, go there, go to the Amazon website, do whatever shopping you need to do there, and we get a little bit of a referral fee from that, and you don't pay anything extra, and everybody wins. So, yay! So that's how you can interact and support us through our website, and come visit us, say hi, leave a comment on our Facebook page, and let us know you're out there, because we know you're out there. I love seeing all the little comments and things that come through our Facebook page. It makes my day, personally. Also because I'm on Facebook all day for work, and it's just something to mix things up a little bit. So I do appreciate it when I see those things.
Warm fuzzies.
Warm fuzzies all around.
Alrighty then.
So I just watched a little short video of fans recreating the end scene from Rogue One at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, I saw that. I loved it.
It's so cool.
There's like so much video from Star Wars Celebration that I need to go and watch, so I may do that while I'm editing this show. So if we find anything that's like totally awesome, we'll make sure to share it on our Facebook page so you guys can check it out as well. So like I said, it looked like a fun time, and Chauncey wants to go now, which I said something to him like a couple of years ago. I'm like, hey, you ever want to go to Star Wars Celebration? Because he's a huge Star Wars fan. And he's like, no, not really, because he doesn't like crowds, which is why he doesn't go really to conventions like I do. But then in the middle of Star Wars Celebration, he like sends me text messages. He's like, I want to go to Star Wars Celebration. I'm like, I asked you if you wanted to go one of these years, and you're like, no. Like, he's like, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And the thing is it travels around, because a few years ago, I think it was in London.
Yeah. I don't think he really cares where. He just wants to go now, so. So, yeah, if we stumble across anything super cool video or photo-wise, we'll make sure to share it on our Facebook, so. Keep us occupied until big fandom Christmas. It is San Diego Comic-Con, so. Alright. Well, unless anyone has anything else to add, I guess we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bev saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. I want a bacon sandwich. I don't even care.
That does sound good.
It does.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by their respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.